The 2025-26 Eagles schedule is finally here, and the fans are not happy with it. Did Roger Goodell and the NFL purposely make the Birds' schedule difficult in order to prevent them from being successful this season? Well, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't even matter because the Birds are ready to run it back and make another deep run into the playoffs. And today we'll give our overall take and a little prediction on this schedule. But welcome into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. And we started off with Santa Claus Goodell. That's right. This guy is at an event and he was announcing the Christmas games for the NFL. Thankfully, the Eagles don't play on Christmas this year, but he was announcing the games on Christmas and he's dressed up as Santa Claus. Well, when you are Santa Claus, you're supposed to give gifts. And I'll tell you what, he did not give the Eagles any gifts this year. We will talk about it. But here is your first look at the Eagles schedule. Now, if you are watching this, it is probably past 8 p.m. Eastern. I am recording this before, and the leaks are out and have been confirmed. So this will be the Eagles 2025 schedule, and here's your first look at it. I mean, this is a pretty crazy schedule. I'm not going to lie, and we'll take an even closer look at it. So here is a list of the Eagles schedule as we know it so far with the listed times. And I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, what is this? Like, did the NFL look at the Eagles last year and say, hey, we don't want them to be successful again? Maybe. But like I said, it doesn't matter because the Birds are going to push through. They have even more chemistry than they did last year. And they're just coming together in a great way. And Howie Roseman has had a great offseason, great draft, etc. But I'll tell you a couple things I don't like about this schedule at first glance, a couple things I do like about it, and then we'll talk more specifically about some of these opponents and give a final prediction. But anyway, the first thing I don't like is how many primetime games they do have. Now, again, I know that comes with the territory. The Eagles are a successful franchise. They are Super Bowl champions. And the NFL wants to feature them more, right? And they're predicted to be very good again. So I do understand it. But from counting right here, Thursday night football, Monday night, Sunday night, Black Friday, Monday night, Sunday night, that's 7 primetime games right off the bat. And I would expect that there's probably some more added in here as well. The other thing I don't like is what we referenced yesterday with some of these weird times of games, right? The Black Friday game, the day after Thanksgiving, that's at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Like, who's watching football while people are out Black Friday shopping at 3 p.m.? And then in week 16, I believe it is, they play at Washington on a Saturday. So, yeah, man, I mean, there's just some weird times for these games. And I think it'll be interesting to, see how the Eagles can handle that, right? Because like I said yesterday, they go through this mental rhythm week by week, and you kind of live off the football week. Now, the couple of things I do like about this schedule are, one, they play the New York Giants 2 times in 3 weeks, and the Giants, I don't believe, are going to be a good football team. I kind of view them as practice dummies, and they'll be better. They'll be improved from last year, but I think those 2 Giants games, let's just say the Eagles started off a bit rough, will be a good way for them to pick steam back up heading into the bye week. And that's the other thing I do like about this schedule at first glance is that their bye week is in week 9. Now, again, last year it was in week 5 and we thought it was terrible. Ended up being a blessing in disguise. But I like week 9. Feels right smack in the middle. Gives them a chance to kind of recoup and get ready for that final push of the season. So I do like that week 9 bye, and I think that'll help them out. But overall, how do we feel about this schedule? Right? They open up the season on a Thursday night to start off football this year against Dallas. And a couple people commented on the last video saying, RB, you need to relax. This is a great thing because the Cowboys come to the link and get to watch the Eagles hang their Super Bowl banner. And I guess I didn't really put that into perspective. I think that's a great point, and I will have a lot of fun doing it, obviously, because the Eagles are champions, but also the Cowboys are going to have to witness something that they probably won't witness ever again. So I love it. And right after Dallas, the Eagles go to Kansas City. And that strikes me as strange, right? Like, why are the Eagles going to Kansas City in week 2? And why is it not a primetime game? This is the reigning Super Bowl matchup. Why would the Eagles not be playing Kansas City at 8:15 or on a Monday night? That's really weird. But anyway, Dallas, Kansas City, and then the Rams and the Bucks to open the season. I feel like that Bucks game is always a tough one. It feels like the Eagles always play the Bucks in week 4 and they always struggle. It's either like crazy hot or the humidity is out of this world or Baker Mayfield just on a crazy tear. So out of the first four, I think the Eagles could lose one or two, right? And moving on after that, they play Denver, and then they play the Giants at New York on a Thursday night. Then they play at Minnesota and come home to play the Giants before the bye week. I think that's a really good stretch for the Eagles. Honestly, I think they could go 4-0. I know Bo Nix had a great year last year, and the Broncos were a playoff team, but the Eagles are better. Simple as that. The Giants, in my opinion, are really not that big of a worry, and Minnesota is still trying to figure it out now with their quarterback situation, right? We'll see what J.J. McCarthy is, but it's no longer Sam Darnold, and I still think that's a bit of a question mark coming off an injury for Minnesota. Also, I do want to just say real quick, I do not really like giving final predictions because, as we know, right, some weeks guys are injured, some weeks games are just tough, teams are on a roll, so it's hard to really pinpoint specific games. So I'm just giving my general thoughts, but I'll tell you how many wins at the end I think the Eagles will result in this season. But anyway, after the bye, a little bit of a tough schedule. You go to Lambeau to play the Packers on a Monday night. Then you play Detroit on Sunday Night Football. So that right there is a quick turnaround. That could be tough. Then you go to Dallas to play the Cowboys. Then you have that Black Friday weird timing game against the Bears. Then you go to LA on the West Coast to play the Chargers. Then you come back home to play the Vegas Raiders. And then you finish off the season with Washington, Buffalo on Sunday night, and Washington. So again, a lot of different timed games here. I don't know how I feel about 2 Washington games in the final 3. I feel like given that it was an NFC championship matchup, Washington probably should have started the season against Philly, but there should be one of those games earlier in the season. I don't really like playing Washington 2 times in 3 weeks, especially in the final couple games when it might not matter anymore for one of those teams, probably Washington. But anyway, you have Buffalo in between that. And another thing I notice actually just right now when looking at the schedule is the Eagles don't have back-to-back home games. Is that serious? Are we for real? This better not be the schedule at this point. I mean, what? No back-to-back home games? That's crazy. Last year, the Eagles had what, like 6 or 7 in a row? Like, is the NFL purposely trying to screw the Eagles over here? Are they trying to piss us off? Like, if just tell us you don't want the Birds to be successful. Like I said, it doesn't matter because the whole offensive core is back. The defense is stout. Vic Fangio's a mastermind, and Howie Roseman added a whole lot more ammunition in the draft and in free agency. So the Eagles are going to be good regardless, but I do think, that Detroit game on a Sunday night's a little bit iffy. Even the Black Friday game, it just feels like one of those weird ones. Eagles better wear their all black jerseys, though, I will say that. And then to end the season, it's just hard to beat a team 2 times in 3 weeks. So definitely a tough schedule. We'll see how it plays out. Hopefully by the time they get there at the end of the season, they'll be resting starters anyway, and they'll be hopefully securing a number 1 seed, so it won't matter. But at the end of the day, how do I feel holistically overall about this schedule? I think it's a lot tougher than last year, but I think the Eagles are still a really good football team. And honestly, I think they're going to win 12 to 13 games this year. Last year I said 11. They ended up winning 14. They set a franchise record for 10 consecutive wins. Sometimes coming off a Super Bowl, you're not going to have the same amount of wins, right? There will be a little bit of a drop-off. Plus, you have a much tougher schedule. But I still think the Eagles could be really good and good enough to get the 1 seed. So I'll go 12 to 13 wins. Just to be optimistic, I'll say 13 wins this season, 13-4, and they end up securing a number 1 seed. The good thing about playing these teams this year is that all your division rivals are going to have to play the same teams, and I think the Eagles are going to run away with the NFC East. I think the Washington Commanders are probably the only team that could give them some trouble, but there is such a thing as a sophomore slump, and Jaden Daniels is going to have to adjust to that. Some of these other teams having more film on them and things like that. So overall, I think it'll be a very successful season. I think the Eagles' opponents that they'll most likely lose to, if I had to guess, are the Buccaneers, either the Packers or the Lions, one of the Washington games, and one more, maybe the Bears on the Black Friday game or Buffalo in Week 17. But overall, I think the Eagles are going to be a successful team this year, and I am so excited to see how it plays out and see if they can run this thing back, because I think Howie Roseman has set them up and put them in position to do so. But I want to hear from Eagle Nation down in the comments. What is your first reaction to this schedule? How many games do you think they're going to win this year? Give me all your thoughts down below. And as always, appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.